Okay, I'm going to show you this video, and I was in three minds whether to do a review at all. But you know when you have those moments where something just hits you to the core and you realise the brevity and the stupidity of the situation that you're up against. And I thought, on balance, I've got to show it. I've got to show it in its true stupidity and then do a review. Let's go.
And I can talk about Tom Robson, we will, because I was at the United Kingdom March. So anyone who wants to talk about that, just know I was there and I saw it on the ground. And I got a report.
You didn't get beaten up, no?
Honestly, I won't lie to you guys. I didn't think I was going to make it home. When I went there, I thought, you know what, I'm probably not going to make it home. And I remember that very night, I went to see my mum. I said, Mum, you know, she's like, why are you going? I said, Mum, I've got to go. I've got to see. I've got to know for myself. Is this a racist event? Is Tommy Robson racist? And I need to feel it. And anyway, having ADHD, very sensitive to stuff. You can't pull the wool over my eyes.
Okay, so he says he's got ADHD, you can't pull the wool over his eyes, but then he was also talking about Tommy Robinson. But he's going to show direct evidence himself that Tommy Robinson is on the extreme right wing and racist. I don't think these people are factoring in the true dangers of what they're playing with. And like the saying goes, you dance with the devil and he decides when the music stops.
I had to go and stand in a crowd and say, what is going on? And, look forward to showing everyone what my feelings are.
I could have told you that it wasn't a racist event, though. Because I've met Tom Robinson on a couple of occasions.
Yeah, but you can't control.
You can't control the followers.
Supporters, what you want to call it.
It's like this. Look, you're always going to have extreme factions on any left, right, central, whatever.
We're talking about extreme racism, and he's just talked about he didn't feel safe that he could go there. And Sarah mentioned something about you're going to have extreme factions on both sides. You're going to find this on the extreme right wing. That is absolutely for sure. You're not going to find that on the left. It's really not the same, and it's really not close.
My thing is, the people that were at the march and the people that were going to march were not marching because they hated black people.
Listen, the thing about popularism, they're marching to the orders of Tommy Robinson and what their leaders are telling them without looking at evidence and based on misinformation, which is a very dangerous combination of things. So in this moment, we're not necessarily talking about the blacks. But that doesn't mean it's not unfair to the groups that they are targeting. That we can reconfirm that Islamophobia is most definitely unfair. A lot of those people, just like us, have been born in the UK, and those British people should be defended. We should be defending our own, not scapegoating them. And that is exactly the opposite thing of what he's saying. It's disgusting.
Okay, that's not what they were marching. They were marching, and the thing is, a lot of the time, I've got to say this because I think black people need to stop centering themselves in other people's discrepancies.
Interesting.
So it's like, if there's a hint of any quote unquote racism, black people will take over whatever it is and say, yeah, because racism, we were at the center of racism. It's like, we need to start decentering ourselves from racist arguments.
That is why we stand in defiance of those terrorists who seek to divide us, who want to pit neighbour against neighbour, to weaken the bonds that bind us together as one nation, one people, one united kingdom.
Please, let the Deputy Prime Minister speak, please. Every Saturday. Please.
We must not let them divide us. We must show them who we really are. Not what they want us to become or to believe, but Britain's true nature, a tolerant nation, built on mutual respect, common understanding, where people live not in fear.
Empty words, we want action.
But in freedom, that is who we are. That is who we will always be. And it cannot be eroded by violence. It cannot be erased by vile acts, such as those carried out here yesterday.
Could there be a racial element? Of course there could be, right? But it's not towards black people. And like I said last time on this show, our last one, we're from the Windrush generation. So we dealt with, or my grandfather and my uncles dealt with the Teddy Boys. They dealt with the NF. They dealt with the BNP. This ain't that.
He says something about dealing with the NF and BNP, and it ain't that. It is that. It is that. It is that. And is he pretending that the BNP and the NF are suddenly all cuddly with black people and people in the minorities? Let's not be stupid about it. I'm convinced that this man here is blinded by Christian nationalism, where you're scapegoating and demonising a particular religion, which happens to be Islam, and that's blinding him to everything else. I've watched this a few times. He has no qualms at all with those people going undefended and just feeding them to the wolves. Where does he think this is going to end in terms of people who just happen to follow Islam as per their right in this country? Because surely you can't think it's going to end well, which says a lot about the character of him. And anybody like him is willing to scapegoat people just because of the religion that they follow. Listen, if this is not clear enough, The good people out there, you cannot just be silent and nodding your head. You need to put your hand in the air and call out these people like I'm trying to do now and just saying, this is not in our name. Otherwise, this thing is going to keep on rolling on, and you cannot just be silent in the face of injustice. Sorry to make it clear, but you are the pro-Islamophobia, which obviously makes you a low-caliber person, or you're anti-Islamophobia, and you've got to speak up, man. You've got to speak up. Please start by liking my videos to show some support and just say, listen, I'm not going to allow injustice where a whole group, just because of who they happen to worship, is stigmatized and scapegoated. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever.
Do you know what I mean? And so when black people start, I think black people have like PTSD from racism. And it's like anything that is remotely a little bit, maybe slightly racist, they want to center themselves and say, look, yeah, we're racist. It's like, it's not about you. It's actually not about you. It's about, if it was about immigration. It was about a certain culture of people and a certain religion of people that didn't have anything to do with us and has never had anything to do with us generally. So why are we centering ourselves?
Okay, so unbelievably, he actually shows a video of Tommy Robinson, and Tommy Robinson was singling out the Muslims again, and it was no ifs, buts, or maybes. He's saying that they are the root of all problems. He's leaning towards the whole lot, the way that I read it, that is beyond the limits of the law-abiding country which respects our fellow world citizens, and especially our fellow British citizens. We cannot allow people to treat our neighbours like shit, and that's really what's on the table. And we cannot trust the country to the far right, because in some ways we don't know where that's going to end, and it starts with Islamophobia, but it's definitely not where it ends. And if you think you're protected by your understanding of the law and where you are in society, we're seeing what's happening in America. In my point of view, they are totally lost. For minimum of the next 2 years, there's absolutely nothing they can do, and we don't want that in this country at all, and we definitely don't want it with Farage. And to be honest, it's not what we want for the UK. What we want is a robust response from our government to enable the police to enact the powers that they already have and shut this thing down before it goes too far. That's the only way it's going to happen. Otherwise, it's going to continue and get worse. Or at the minimum, if the government's not going to do anything, then compensate the people who are having to suffer whilst they sit on their hands, and see how long that lasts. Please like and subscribe. That is Steve, and I am out.